beautiful house with 5 heads. Okay, sorry. We have too many rooms. But I hope you keep yourself warm. Okay, so another day of learning, I hope. And, this topic is, of course, continuation of many things that we're trying to learn and study. But this time and today, I wish and would like it to be a little bit more of kind of a discussion, okay? And your chance to ask questions and perhaps fine-tune to where your mind and your maybe query, anything related to the topic. And today we will be discussing not only summarizing what we have learned so far, but the question is why are we here? Why are we in samsara? Okay. So, and to really make clear of this, that way, we have so much learning, and you have also accumulated many understanding perhaps, but because we only meet like once in a while, okay, and you basically, your life is so busy, okay, that the teachings may accumulate only by a conceptual understanding, So maybe in lieu to that complexity of world that we're living, our life, which we cannot ignore, okay, and so let's talk about being alive here in samsara. And so let's talk about that and let's see what happens. Yeah? Okay. So did anybody have the prayers? Okay, so let's Alright, so page 1. And let's all recite together. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from the suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. And let's recite page 11. Equally 7 limbs. the Tathagata, Lion of the Shakyas, the Buddha, Dharma, and the Noble Assembly. Supreme among refuge, you fully embrace the two truths, and thereby perfectly unite wisdom and compassion. To you, in devotion, I pay homage. This is the first branch of prostration. To the precious, unsurpassed, threefold refuge, I present, through the rite of perfect offering, vast cloud-like gifts beyond imagining, outer, inner, and all reality itself. This is the second branch, the law of offering. With the wish to liberate all beings, and with constant devotion, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until I reach the essence of enlightenment. This is the third branch, that of taking refuge. Whatever unbearable wrongs I have committed, with my body, my speech, or my mind, and those I have requested or rejoiced in, all of them I individually confess. This is the fourth branch, that of confession. In the acts of the perfect Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Prajika Buddhas, and Buddhist disciples, and in all worldly forms of merit, gladly I rejoice. This is the fifth branch, that of rejoicing. With wisdom and compassion, diligently for sentient beings' sake, I take my place before all the Buddhas, and set my mind on perfect awakening. This is the sixth branch, that of generating bodhicitta. May these practices for accumulating merit become a cause of threefold enlightenment. Relying on the path of the two selflessnesses, may I attain the higher realms and liberation. Through whatever merits I have gathered, may living beings becoming victorious ones, respectfully, for the sake of all beings, may I act genuinely and on a vast scale. In the course of all my future lives, may I behold the Buddhas, may I listen to the Dharma, and may I serve the Sangha. May I have skilled, authentic teachers, and offer spiritual and material gifts. May beings gain ordinary possessions, and master all transcendent perfections. Through the merits of giving wealth, maintaining perfect discipline, and studying the sacred Dharma, may I gain supreme awakening. When I die and pass on from this world, may I take birth into Shita, and through my merits swiftly approach the protector Maitreya to receive a prophecy of enlightenment. This is the seventh branch, that of making prayers of aspiration. Okay. Thank you. So everybody can hear, okay? Looks like the rain. I like to hear or listen to the rain more than my voice. Okay. So, wow, beautiful lunch. So any of you actually have helped in preparing the lunch? Thank you. All right, so let's talk about samsara. you get it, you're ready to write, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Good question. I've been pondering it over the past few weeks, so I'm not quite yet arrived at an understanding.
Yes.
So when I think about animals and us, I feel that we are all connected in one way or another.
Yeah.
And I enjoy seeing them, and I enjoy
Being with
them.
them, yes.
And then when I think about samsara and what that means and to the animal, I think animals are
So do,
has to
and
be.
so humans.
Yeah. And so it doesn't feel like they're suffering.
Ah, okay.
So how is that? Yeah, I don't get
Makes
it.
sense. Yes. Okay. So, you know, many reasons why you still, you know, you arrive into that question. You know, again, there are reasons why, right? Why we ask some questions. Because obviously sometimes studying the Buddha Dharma is not simple, but yet it's very straightforward. But there are many layers of it, right? And you know, when we study it, it's like going to school. You know, when you studied math at the beginning, you know, you're just required to study because that's what everybody does, right? And as a Buddhist, that's all what we need to do, is that we have to study, right? But then here we are, trying to open our book and learn something. But what happens when you introduce to a child, you know, which is a 6-year-old, you know, the beginning of math, and of course it's hard to understand, you know, like why do we have to start with this, you know, like first they draw first, right? Apple, one apple, another one apple, you know, and then there are many layers, and then when they, you know how it goes is before they even give you abstract concepts, they show you first, you know, the apple, the real apple, and then you said 2, 1 plus 1, and how many apple are here? And you say 2, you know, so you're so excited, like, you know, like I'm getting this, right? But when it comes to layers and layers of understanding of math, it requires, it has a prerequisite, right? It's not just gonna, because first of all, it is a concept, right? But it does have beginning is you need to learn first, why are we learning this, right? I know, I'm taking you like farther away, but because why sometimes we do not understand, okay? Like, all right, well here it is because the complexity of where we are and our mind is vast, okay? And now you say, wow, animals and then human, what's the difference? They are so like, you know, natural and ignorant, and why do they have to suffer in samsara, and do they know even if they're in samsara? Right? This is where you are getting on now, right? It's like unfair for them, you know. I don't think they will ever gonna make it. How am I gonna save my you know, my Max, you know, or you know, Tweety Bird or something, you know. So we will be able to answer that in this index card. I tried, okay? We will try. Because of this prerequisite, you know, like little by little, we have not really gained understanding first of our own mental darkness, okay? Because of our ignorance, which means it's not like, you know, oh, I've never been to Italy, so I don't know what Italy is. It's not that kind of ignorance. Ignorance means it's the mental darkness, the darkness in the mind, okay? So that's what our topic is. So the question is, you know, the Buddha actually have said this, you know, if suffering, okay, what actions leads us to be here in samsara? Well, not everybody know they are in samsara. And so with the animal does not know that they are in samsara. Why? Because of mental darkness. Okay? Because of mental darkness. Now, we'll break this down, okay? And then now I'm still interested in relating to the animal, okay? So, what actions, okay, what action, or let's just say, what are the action that leads, okay, leads us to samsara? All of your answer is correct, but I know this is gonna be, the first thing here is, right here, like we are all sitting here, you know. If nobody is telling you about samsara, you don't even know what is samsara. Do you think an ordinary person or even the President of the United States does not know what is samsara? Okay? They have to Google it. Right? But I'm just saying that from this point of, just for the argument and just the study today, is that we believe there is samsara because what? Because the Buddha says this is samsara. And we have to agree to that. Otherwise, there's no point of studying. Okay, that's the first premise we need, you know, because you say, well, how do you know this is samsara? And, well, the Buddha said, this is what the name is. Samsara means is the cycle, the cyclic existence. Okay? This is basically the cyclic existence. It cycles. We go up and down and round and round and round and round. Okay? So it's very straightforward. It's really written as the Buddha have said that, right? So, because that's one thing, you know, like anyone who does not know about samsara, then they would say, well, I don't believe that. Well, then there's no point. So right now we all agree that there is samsara, right? But you will learn what is samsara after this. Because this is very important. Why? Why is it so important? Because samsara, if you keep on cycling in samsara and you don't know, okay, you will end up suffering endlessly. Okay? Alright, so let's break this down, okay? So as it says on the action which leads to samsara, okay, we're gonna start there. What actions? Because everything that we do is action, right? Do you agree? Yeah, anything. Taking a shower, brushing teeth, running, you know, coming, going. Everything that says ing in the last is action. Do you agree? Yeah, anything that ends with ing. Brushing, writing, singing, dancing, chewing, yeah, thinking. Yeah. Those are all actions. So it says, what are actions that leads to samsara? I know, very simple question, but quite heavy. This is heavy material, okay? So accumulating of bad deeds derived from what? From actions. Well, what kind of action? There's negative actions. Okay? Okay? That is the root of suffering. We're going to have to talk about suffering now. Okay? Because right now, you may think you are not suffering, but you are. We've talked about this, right? Like right now, if you're sitting like that, you think that you're so comfortable, then how come you're going to stand up later? Then why are you going to sit down when you're comfortable sitting, standing up? Is it somebody smiling all 24 hours? And then is somebody sad 24 hours? No, just constantly, you know, not so sure whether happy or sad, you know, like, but these are all, you know, means of suffering. The constant change is suffering, remember? Okay, so that's just one part, okay? But what I'm saying is accumulation of bad deeds, okay, are the root of suffering. So, what causes bad deeds? Huh? Those are conflicting emotions. When we are conflicted, okay, once our emotions, we have conflict with our emotions, immediately your reaction is what? Negative action. I tell you. One example is when you're driving. You're just like happy, you know, driving. You wanted to come to the temple. And then someone just back up without, out of nowhere, and you know your emotion is neutral at that time. But when your emotion all of a sudden was conflicted by something, okay, meaning something arises that like, you don't really like it, okay, that is already a conflict. You're finding conflict within. Then what happens? You started to, you know, what? Yeah, you scream. Not only like, did you scream, hi, like that? I don't think so. It's kind of like not normal, right? You're gonna say whatever words is so immediate, right? And that is already a negative action. Okay? Well, a lot of people say, well, how? I say that all the time, that's normal. Like bad words, you know, is because they don't know, right? So any time or every time we have conflict within ourselves, we're not neutral. Right now you're neutral. Yeah? There's nothing disturbing you. Is there? But when you go against something, you are conflicted already. Okay? Then an action would come out. Whether in the mind, you know how it's initiated in the mind? Okay? And then it comes to your other parts of, you know, how you action it. Not only in the mind, okay, it comes in the speech or body. Alright? So what causes conflicting emotions? Because we need to know where this is, okay? Well, duality is one of actually is a conflicted emotion. That is already a conflicting emotion. But what I'm saying is, where is it coming from? Where did non-duality come from? But that's very, very, you know, let's not use that word because it gets complicated as yeah, but you're right. I mean, it's one of them is duality, okay? So conflicting emotion, where is it coming from? Why did I feel bad? Where is this coming from? It only comes in the mind. But what caused that? Huh? It's all good. Your answers are all valid, okay? But we're looking at the root of this. Why do we have negative karmic tendencies? Because there is a root of this equates to conflicting emotions. So where is it coming from? Where's the root of that? It's only one thing.
Self?
Self is, but there is a root of self. What is the root of self? What kind of self? What kind of grasping self is that? Huh? What kind of selfishness is that? You're getting close. What kind of self? A self that is ignorant. Okay? Because remember, it's not like ignorant, like, you know, like innocence. Okay? It's not that. We're ignorant, okay? Which is definitely holds, you know, when someone is ignorant, okay, they are causing all this conflicting emotions, right? It's due to that sense of ignorance that what? That holds the self. Okay? Because there is a self that is also not ignorant, okay? Which is called selflessness. But ignorance, okay, is because it holds, okay, the self, the grasping of self. Alright? That is the ignorance. Okay? But you're right, you said, well, self. But it has to be what? Self-grasping. I know, this is a solid, you know, marathon of words and language. But we'll do our best to understand it, okay? So, the self-grasping, or this conflicting emotions that is from ignorance, okay? Ignorance here is mental darkness. We need to be very, very clear that this is mental darkness, okay? So when I turn the lights off, even here, you know how you know the temple? You think you know the temple? Just right here? If I turn the lights off, what happens? It's dark. Of course it's dark. What happens? You're gonna start to feel a little bit afraid because you don't know where things are, right? So then you start grabbing, like, I think there is a chair here, right? And then you're grasping and grabbing things that you are not so sure, okay? And you action things in the dark. And if there's fear, there is also not so sure kind of feeling. There's a lot of uncertainties, okay? And you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and you're gonna hurt yourself, right? In the dark. Now this is just a very mundane example of mental darkness. So assume